show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver Common Sense. Oh, I just may have saw that there was a major issue with the audio. Oh, boy. Yep. Oh, boy. Somehow the sound got shut off, and I didn't notice that. Oh, I feel like a goddamn ass. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Tell you if it's not one thing. The problem with the software is the little equalizer line that shows me that their sound is so goddamn small I can barely see it. Now, normally at the beginning of the show, I take a quick listen. Today, I didn't. I took it for granted. Guess that should teach me. Oh, boy. Have you ever had a day where just it doesn't seem like anything's going right? I tell you. DOJ has dropped bombshells in the Mendez corruption trial. Dozen more unreimbursed flights paid for by the co-defendant, Mel Jen. On Wednesday, the Department of Justice dropped a bombshell in the public corruption trial against Senator Bob Mendez. Have you noticed none of this is really in mainstream news? Now imagine if it was Republican Senator Bob Mendez. Oh, then that would be all over the news. Well, the trial is set to begin in New Jersey federal court on September 6th. It had been reported for some time that Mendez had previously acknowledged taking 3 trips to the Dominican Republic and Florida that were paid for by Melgen. When 2 of those trips were discovered, Mendez belatedly reimbursed Melgen the $58,500 expense associated with them. But in a 30-page brief filed with the court on Wednesday, the DOJ stated the press revealed for the first time that Mendez had flown free of charge multiple times in 2010 on a private jet. A fact that Mendez had omitted from the annual financial disclosure form that he is required to follow. Once exposed on January 4th, 2013, Mendez wrote a $58,500 check to Melgen to cover 2 round-trip flights more than 2 years after Mendez took them in 2010. And that's according to a DOJ brief. A few weeks later, when the FBI executed a search warrant on Melgen's office on January 30th, 2013, Mendez swiftly issued a statement. Senator Mendez has traveled on Dr. Melgen's plane on 3 occasions, all of which have been paid for and reportedly appropriately. That was a lie. The truth is that Mendez and his personal guests had enjoyed more than a dozen flights on Melgen's private jet dating back at least as far as 2006. Not a single one of which Mendez had paid for or reported on his annual financial disclosure form. Mendez persisted in obfuscation just a few days later, telling CNN on February 4th that the reason he wrote the $58,500 check to Melgen over 2 years after the flight was that the payment fell through the cracks. A month later, Melgen repeated 3 occasional lies in an interview appearing in an online newspaper owned by Melgen. What both defendants' false public statements sought to hide was that the $58,500 check did not cover all of the private flights that Mendez accepted from Melgen. It covered just 2 personal trips that the defendant believed the public knew or would find out about. But Mendez and Melgen's lie to the public were aimed at covering up more than just flights. They were aimed at hiding a corrupt pact spanning 7 years in which Melgen showered many more things of value on the New Jersey senator than just flights on a private jet. Mendez reciprocated with official actions advancing the South Florida eye doctor's personal whims and business interests. Social media reacted quickly to the new revelations included in the New Jersey DOJ briefs. Democrat Senator Bob Mendez lived this lifestyle on bribes funded by a $105 million Medicaid fraud scheme. His trial starts September 6th. Now, he also tried to get that date changed and, all this other stuff to make sure that he could be around to vote. He tried to push that he is a senator. Too quickly, the judge shut that down. GOJ pointed out that Mendez was trying to get special treatment due to his title as a senator. The evidence at the trial will prove the defendant bribery scheme beyond a reasonable doubt, the brief continued. The remainder of the memorandum the DOJ wrote is intended to provide a guide for the court regarding the evidence the government will offer and to review several legal issues that may arise. Mendez's co-defendant, Dr. Melgen, was convicted on 67 felony counts of Medicaid fraud on charges that are directly related to the sort of illegal lobbying the federal government alleges Mendez undertook on Melgen's behalf. So what this is, you have a doctor who was billing Medicare, fraudulently. And he got a senator to jump in with him to help perpetuate that $105 million fraud. Not just, okay, 20, 30,000, $105 million fraud. And Mendez tried to use his influence as a senator. Melgen's fortune was anchored by his South Florida optometry practice and a substantial portions of that practice involved treating Medicare-eligible patients with macular degeneration, an eye disease treated with the drug Lucentis. His lucrative practice was threatened in 2009 when post-payment review of his Lucentis claims by the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services revealed that he had billed Medicaid for millions of dollars worth of the drug that he never actually bought, leading to a formal demand that he repay Medicare $8.9 million in overbilling for the years 2007-2008. That is when Magellan called upon Mendez, as one staffer memorized in an email, to weigh in with CMS. Lucentis is a injectable, preservative-free solution that is stored in single-use vials. The label approved by the FDA specifies each vial should only be used for the treatment of a single eye. If the collateral eye requires treatment, a new vial should be used. Each single-dose vial, which costs approximately $2,000, is deliberately packaged with more Lucentis than is actually needed for a single dose in case any is spilled while preparing to administer the drug. This overfill ensures that there will be a sufficient amount for the dose. Any overfill that remains after administration should be discarded. The CDC warns that using a single-dose vial to treat multiple patients risks infection. Medicare reimbursement policies reflect the one vial, one eye administration of Lucentis by allowing for full reimbursement of a single vial despite the overfill loss after the single dose from that vial is administered. Testimony from CMS officials, Mendez staffers, and others, along with internal records, correspondence, and Melgen's own admissions, will demonstrate that from at least 2007 through 2012, Melgen disregarded the FDA label, defied CDC warnings, and exploited Medicare's billing procedures. Under Melgen's direction, his optometry practice, VRC, routinely extracted, harvested, overfill from single-dose vials, used the overfill to treat multiple patients, and billed Medicare for each vial each time the drug was administered. Because VRC managed to extract multiple doses from one vial, but billed Medicare for each vial for each dose, Melgen was paid millions by Medicare for vials he never bought. And the good old senator helped him. Last week, Melgen's sentence on those convictions was surprisingly delayed until after the public corruption trial, giving rise to speculation that Melgen will become a witness against Mendez and return for a lighter sentence on those charges. He currently faces 25 years to life. Mendez is trying to get out of it every which way as possible. He's even going so far as to say that he wasn't in official actions when he spoke with Melgen. I love how when I was at EMT 24/7. I was at EMT every day that I had that certification. And I had to represent myself in that manner. Off duty, I was still an EMT and had to represent myself in a certain manner and held to a certain standard. But the senator wants to be treated like a senator at all times, but not be responsible for being a senator all times. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. So another poll that was done, a Fox poll, finds that just 15% of voters approve of the job Congress is doing, while about 5 times as many, 74%, disapprove. That's a bit worrying than in January when 17% approved and 74% disapproved. For comparison, Congress hit a 9% approval in October 2013 following the government shutdown over the budget. Trump could use a win right now, and a tax reform probably represents his best opportunity to get something done legislatively. Republican pollster Shaw, who conducted the Fox News poll with Democrat counterpart Chris Anderson, but the public doubts anyone, whether an experienced Washington hand or an energetic outsider, can overcome the partisan dysfunction in Congress. Nearly 8 in 10 expect a tax overhaul won't happen this year. That's 78%. Reforming the tax is much more important to Republicans, 70%, than Democrats, 29%. Still, they share doubt it'll happen. 76% Republican and 79% of Democrats say it is unlikely Congress will pass tax reform. It's funny. You know, they want to do a tax reform, which take out a lot of these loopholes that Democrats hate so much, but yet the Democrats don't want anything done about it. That'd be because the Democrats, especially the politicians, are using those loopholes, which tax breaks they're called. They call them loopholes. That's tax laws. To make themselves richer and then complain about people being rich. It's beautiful watching it. It's like this choreographed dance. I don't know, but I can understand the trepidation of wanting it done and thinking it's going to get done as two different things. Listen, you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplansdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Calf was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. Don't forget, coming up, top of the hour, will be BZ's Bobcat. There's BZ Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Oh, my God. Oh, I can't wait. No offense, guys. I love yous, but I can't wait till the show's done. So I could just go. I'm going to go lay down and go right to sleep. I'm starting to feel like shit. I'll tell you that right now. Oh. Let me get finished with this poll that was done. More viewers view Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell negatively than positively by 29 points. That's 20% favorability to 49% unfavorable. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is viewed negatively by 7%. That's 27% favorably, 34% unfavorably. House Speaker Paul Ryan is a net negative of 13, 35 versus 48. That's 35 favorable, 48 unfavorable. While House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is a minus 21, 31 favorable, 52% unfavorable. That's pretty remarkable. 44% have a favorable view of Donald Trump, while 55% have an unfavorable view. That's a minus 11 points. But look at the favorability, 44%. Nancy Pelosi's favorability is 31%. Paul Ryan, 35%. Chuck Schumer, 27%. Mitch McConnell, 29%. You know, a lot of them are bitching about Trump and always pointing to his favorability. Look at theirs. They're worse than his. Congress as a whole is worse than Trump's. Vice President Mike Pence is in a positive territory with 46% favorability versus a 43% unfavorable. All right, the Fox poll is based on a landline and cell phone interviews with 1,600 randomly chosen registered voters nationwide and was conducted under the joint directions of Anderson Robertson Research and Shaw & Company Research. From August 27th to the 29th, the poll has a margin of sampling area of plus or minus 3% for all registered voters. So what does that tell you? Congress is doing the worst out of them all. And as much as they bitch and moan, Schumer and Pelosi are doing worse than the president. Paul Ryan and Mitchell are doing worse. People are watching. We have what's called the internet now, and it's very easy to find facts out. That's why I try not even to go on Twitter that much anymore. Because all it seems to be is a bunch of idiots on both sides just arguing the same points back and forth sometimes. I'm not saying all, but it's like there's a lot of paid trolls just out there nowadays. And there's no discussion. There's just childish name calling. And it just gets really tiresome watching it after a while. I go on Twitter here and there. I might make a comment here and there, but that's it. Same with Facebook. Social media, it's just not my thing. And yeah, my show probably could be doing a lot better number-wise. But I'm saving myself a hassle from dealing with all that. I did it for a while, and oh my God, the death threats and everything else just rolled in, and the stress level can go up. As much as I find it funny sometimes, it's just, oh my God, these people are nuts. And nobody has any self-respect anymore or any self-control. Hold on. Oh, touchdown Redskins. Today's the last game of preseason games. Ooh, looks like Tampa Bay threw an interception. A little pick six action happened. Now, Camille Harris, you know, she's out there trying to do whatever she can to get publicity. Which, it's... Now, she has announced that she intends to support Bernie Sanders' single-payer Medicare for all healthcare legislative at an Oakland town event on Wednesday. Speaking at a BB Memorial Cathedral in her hometown, Harris made the news near the end of the event in response to a question from someone who works at a non-profit Alameda Health Consortium. She told the audience that she was going to break some news and said, "I intend to co-sponsor the Medicare for All bill because it's the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do." No, they're going to do it because they think it will buy votes. They think it will buy votes, so that's what they'll do. Harrison laughed after making her announcement and said, "Someone should tell my staff." She added that she believes health care is a right and not a privilege. You can think whatever you want. There's people that think Martians are real. You could think that mud pies taste good. Doesn't make it so. Harrison may be positioning herself for a 2020 White House run, and her single-payer announcement is significant because she has taken considerable heat of late from Sanders supporters who think she is too beholden to big-money donors like Hillary Clinton and do not like the fact that she was once a prosecutor. Sanders thanked Harris on Twitter, tweeting, "Let's make health care a right, not a privilege." You know, I intend to co-sponsor the Medicaid for All bill because it's just the right thing to do. Oh, my God. Oh. SPL, Southern Poverty Law Center, has declared 3 American largest Army bases Confederate monuments with the potential to unleash more turmoil and bloodshed if activists don't take down the Army base. The SPL's Southern Poverty Law Center include Fort Hood in Texas, Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Benning in Georgia, on a list of 1,500 Confederate monuments that the Southern Poverty Law Center claims could inspire more violence like what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia last month. All 3 bases are named after Confederate military leaders. The list makes no mentioning of renaming namesake of Confederate monuments. Taking the monuments down is presented as the only option. The recent leftist campaign against Confederate namesake and monuments has included a willingness among some far-left actors to destroy government property to accomplish their goal. More than 1,500 Confederate monuments stand in communities like Charlottesville with the potential to unleash more turmoil and bloodshed. You know what, Southern Poverty Law Center, who you like to declare hate groups, the one that you're protecting is the one that is unleashing the turmoil and the bloodshed. Those monuments didn't do shit to you. These Antifa and Democrats are the ones that are creating the turmoil. Elementary, middle school, local streets, and entire towns are included on the Southern Poverty Law Center's list of Confederate monuments. Is Robert Byrd on that list, I wonder? Please tell me. The SPLC is urging leftists around the country to flood their local newspaper with letters to the editors urging the removal of monuments, although the group's campaign against the Army base could serve as a dog whistle for left-wing militants willing to take extreme measures to take down Confederate monuments. The SPLC's map of Confederate monuments resembles the group's hate map that has repeatedly smeared conservative organizations as hate group and inspired domestic terrorist Floyd Lee Corkin II to shoot up the Family Research Center in 2012. You know what? Southern Poverty Law Center should start to be held to a legal standard for their listings. Don't get a sponsor because you're on the SPLC list, sue them. Just lock them up in court. Do what the left does. They waste our money, start wasting theirs. Sooner or later, they are going to run out. Antifa violence leaves leftists to question whether movement hurts or helps. About 100 black-clad activists carrying makeshift shields and gloves descend on a California college town of Berkeley over the weekend and viciously attacked a small group of peaceful protesters. Video footage of the protest shows groups of these activists kicking and punching demonstrators who have fallen in the street, swinging batons at others, and threatening to destroy the camera of anyone documenting their mayhem. Unlike the deadly clashes in Charlottesville, Virginia early this month, these assailants in Berkeley weren't far-right white supremacists or neo-Nazis, but a group of left-wing counter-protesters known as Antifa. Short for anti-fascist, Antifa members have over the last year increasingly made their violent presence known as progressive demonstration and counter-protests to alt-right groups and speakers across the country, leaving many to question Antifa's role in the leftist protest movement and to ask if the group is causing more harm than good. Well, when you don't have Democrats condemning their actions, as Democrats say, you're approving of their actions. And I have not seen them come out quick enough. I have not heard them come out and specifically name them or specifically condemn them. Even Nancy Pelosi came out, but she gave a generalized, not a specific condemnation of Antifa. That's the big debate. Pamela Oliver, a psychology professor, sociology, ABZ, at the University of Wisconsin, who studied collective action and social movements, told Fox News most people think that nonviolence is the way to go and that violent, aggressive response could backfire. That is, play into the hands of the white supremacists by using violence. You know, I get tired every time, and the tactics that are being used. Don't like what the person's doing? Just call them a white supremacist or Nazis. That'll do it. That one group that was going to have a protest in California, he was a Japanese American or it's something, and he wasn't white, but a white supremacist is holding a rally. The attacks on whites is getting ridiculous. No proof, no nothing, just throw the accusation. Some of these people are getting their careers and their lives ruined over these accusations. For what? To silence free speech. And that's all it is, to silence free speech. Because they cannot win. The Democrat and the left movement cannot win against fact and rational people. So they have to silence us. You don't see me in chat. I'm right there. I'm having all sorts of technical issues tonight. Antifa movement traces its roots back to militant anti-fascist operations in Germany in 1930s. But the emergence of these modern groups in the United States, which is predominantly comprised of radical anarchists and focus more on fighting far-right ideology than on encouraging pro-left policies, coincides with the rise of white nationalists following the election of Barack Obama in 2008. Since the election of President Trump, Antifa activists have become even more active, clashing with right-wing activists and police in cities from Philadelphia to Houston to Hamburg, site of this year's G20 summit. And I think they said there was over 2,000 crimes committed by Antifa within 2 days. There has been suggestion Antifa agitators were responsible for much of the destruction in Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day. And while white supremacists and neo-Nazis were certainly to blame for much of the violence in Charlottesville, they claim that Antifa groups got aggressive first. All right, people, I hate to do this. I'm going to cut out early tonight. I am not feeling good. Coming up in about 40 minutes is going to be BZ. BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. And I'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Till then. Oh, man. I don't know if it's allergies, if I'm getting sick. I think California is bleeding off onto me. All right, everybody, have a good night.
You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.